Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm George Conley with Scratch Golf Tips. Today I'm going to be taking you into a little driving range practice session here where my focus is distance control, and I'm going to be doing one of my favorite drills, which is taking a yardage. In this case, in this video, I took 150 yards and then I took 125 yards, and my goal was to hit 3 different clubs at each target number. So starting with 150 yards, for me this is about an 8-iron, that's my stock shot, but here I'm going to be hitting a 9-iron first, and my goal with this shot is to just get a little bit more yardage on it. So I'm going to take this 9-iron, I'm going to want to hit it a little bit higher. I'm going to have a draw bias to it. As you see, my front foot is a little bit closer to the ball than that back foot. That's how I promote my draw, and I'm just going to take a pretty nice hack at it. It's a balanced swing. You know, I'm not off balance at all throughout that golf swing, and I hit this one about 148. So that's just my swing feel when I want to get a few extra yards out of a club. This isn't something I turn to all the time in the golf course, but if there are certain bunkering or if there's rough water, it's something that I can turn to, and I'm only comfortable turning to it on the golf course because I practice it in times like this. Now I've got my standard 8-iron shot, so this is really nothing special. My 8-iron really does go anywhere between 150 to 153 on a stock shot. So I have a pretty standard setup. As you see, that front foot is a little bit more open. This is just going to be playing a baby fade and a much more stock swing. As you see, I didn't really lash at that ball nearly as much. It's going to naturally go a little bit lower. I've always been more of a low ball hitter, and that's just that's a way for me to feel a more standard swing, especially right after coming off from a swing with that 9-iron that I was really getting after it. So now I'm going to club down to my 7-iron. Now the 7-iron obviously goes upper 160s. I can hit this into the 170s. I've even hit it 180 a couple of times if I need to. My only hole-in-one actually was with this club from 179. So a variety of yardages. Hitting it 150 though is fairly uncomfortable for me. So I'm going to really have to saw this off. In my mind, I'm trying to feel right about a shoulder to shoulder swing. As you see, I really abbreviate the follow through, and that's going to allow my swing to be a little bit more condensed and also flight that ball a little bit lower. I believe on this shot, my Flight Scope Mevo said 151, which was super close. I got all 3 of these shots within, I think, 3 yards of 150, which I was super happy about. But it's nice to be able to turn to different shots on the golf course because we're always faced with different yardages. It's not always going to be a clean yardage. So knowing how to really turn one up a few yards or draw it back a few yards, and also playing with different trajectories has always been helpful for me. So now those were the short and mid irons. Now let's talk about wedges. So those were 150 yard shots. These are all 125 yard shots. So I'm starting off with a 56 degree wedge. Now this club hit purely, it will probably hit 105, 108. So hitting a 56 degree wedge 120 yards is super difficult for me. This really isn't something that I'll turn to on the golf course because I'll just knock down a 52 degree wedge. But for the sake of this drill, I'm still going to try and hit a nice high draw on this. And as you see, that was a very big golf swing. You know, for me, I know that I'm hitting a draw when that club really wraps around my neck and I get my back involved in that draw. I believe that when it was hit pretty well, and it still went about 114, but you know, when you're hitting high lofted wedges, there's only so many yards you can push out of it. With a 6-iron, I can probably get 10, 12 yards on it because it's a longer club. However, when you're talking about a 56 degree wedge, there's only so much I can do. So now I'm going to turn over to the 52 degree wedge. Just like the 8-iron from 150, this 52 will go anywhere between 120 and 125. So a stock shot on this is going to be a fairly normal setup, just like that 8-iron, pretty neutral setup, and a nice controlled golf swing. On all these shots, keep in mind that I am doing my pre-shot routine. I know that I say this a lot on driving range videos, but once you're working on your golf swing and you're hitting full swings, implement that pre-shot routine. It's going to make you feel much more comfortable on the golf course. Now that 52 is nice and smooth, stayed balanced. My Mevo read 123, which is right about what I expect of it. And now I'm going to take out the pitching wedge. This pitching wedge, I believe, is lofted at 46 degrees, so it will jump a little bit more. This club will generally take me 130, 132, 133. So this is going to be a little bit of a knockdown, not as much of a pronounced knockdown as I hit with that 7-iron. So I was trying to take about 20 yards off that club. I'm only trying to take about about 8. So as you can see there, I had a much higher follow through, still very abbreviated, but I actually crunched this one. This is one of my better shots of the session. So just keep this in mind in terms of, it's very easy to go out to a driving range and just smack balls and really be comfortable hitting a 7-iron 175. When on the golf course, you're not always going to have 175. You're going to have 168. You're going to have 181. It's important to know how to really turn up a couple extra yards or dial back a few yards. This is an excellent way to play around with that and also get more confident in different trajectories of ball flight. And also, I'm always a proponent of switching out clubs, hitting a different club in your hand after each swing. That closely simulates what you're doing on the golf course. You're not going to ever have a 7-iron and hit it 10 shots in a row. So we shouldn't always be practicing that way. I'd love to hear your thoughts on distance control, how you work on it, how you feel you perform in your own distance control on the golf course. I'd love to hear all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all very much for watching. Play well and take care.